Hello and welcome back to Producing Music. My name is Non Weary, and in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make an emotional, chill, lo-fi house song. Lo-fi house is a genre of electronic music that blends the warm sounds of house music with the lo-fi aesthetic of vintage analog equipment. In this video, I'll be showing you how to make the soundscape, the drums, the bass, and how to arrange the full track. To start, find a sample or create an 8-bar loop of emotional guitar or piano. For this video, I've used this guitar sample from the Pack OS 5. Lots of good lo-fi samples and loops in here. When you're processing these kinds of samples, make sure that it changes throughout the track. You can see here that I have a lot of automation changing the sample slightly during each section, and I'm using a couple EQs to eliminate clashing frequencies during each section. To add the soundscape, layer atmospheric samples like rain, birds, or kids playing to set the mood. From here, you're going to want to pick out a female vocal sample, not to play over the track, but to use as a percussive element. This is one of my favorite tricks to add ear candy to a track. Treat the vocal chop like an accented snare. Here, I'm using these hits to add groove to the guitar. And since it's lo-fi, add a bandpass style EQ, reverb, delay, and a redux to lower the audio quality. To use it effectively, loop your section and dial in the soft downsample knob until the frequencies line up in key. The purpose of downsampling in this scenario is to take the organic sound and lower its quality. In addition, you can add a little hi-hat that plays the same rhythm as the vocal chop to make it stand out in the mix just a little bit more. Here's what our soundscape sounds like so far. Now, this would get boring if it played like this throughout the whole song, so I recommend you add new elements every 8 bars or so. I like using a songwriting technique called crescendo, where the beginning starts with few calm samples, and the end has a bunch of more aggressive layered sounds. Okay, now for the sounds themselves, I recommend adding arps and pads to your main melody. Make sure they take up different portions of the frequency and stereo spectrum so they don't fight with each other. Saw waves and square waves are great wavetables to start with. In this track, the main melody is low frequency heavy, so most of my additional elements are sparkly arps and pads to counterbalance the lowness of the sample. I also added a separate sub-bass to occupy the very lowest frequencies by using a sine wave in Serum. All in all, this is what our final melodic spectrum sounds like. In Lo-Fi House, you're going to want to create 2 different drum sections, a part A and a part B. Part A you'll use for intros and breaks, and part B will be the main house section. With that in mind, you want to keep your sample selection soft and organic for the A section. I've chosen the soft kick, rim shot, and shaker sample. I added some transients to the kick, put some reverb on the whole channel, and made it super spacey. A good way to do this without creating any clashing frequencies is to break the drums up into 2 frequency ranges, adding reverb only to the high side. For the drums in part B, they get a little more aggressive. Find a harder kick sample and a wide clap. Here, I've also layered 2 shakers and put them way on the outside of the mix to make the drums feel a lot bigger than they actually are. Then, arrange the samples in a traditional house pattern. Optionally as well, you can add a shaker sample during the later sections of the song to add variation. Make sure to put it in stereo too. My mastering chain is just a limiter with this song since I wanted to keep the organics of each sound intact. And with that, I really appreciate it if you made it this far in the video. If you enjoyed the content or learned something new, please leave a like and consider subscribing. And if you want to download this project sample and the samples inside, the link is in the description. It's a fantastic way to support the channel. Thank you, and without further ado, here's the final result.